Hello and welcome. My name is Dr. Lynn Trevisan, and I'm a full professor here at UAGC. I will be the host of this session, Promoting Belonging, Strategies for Enhancing Student Sense of Belonging in College-Level English Courses. By joining us today, you acknowledge that this session is being recorded and will be shared with TLC-related materials. Microphones are muted for this presentation, but we encourage you to post questions and comments in the chat. Also, we have enabled live transcription. If you would like to use it, click on the Show Caption button at the bottom of your Zoom window. Our presenters for this session are Dr. Hazar Shihadeh and Rebecca Campbell. Dr. Hazar Shihadeh is an associate professor and a member of the Live Learning Leadership Team in the School of General Studies at the University of Arizona Global Campus. Since 2009, she has taught a diverse range of subjects, including English, English as a Second Language or ESL, film criticism, linguistics, literature, and humanities, supporting both undergraduate and graduate students. She has played a significant role in various committees focused on curriculum development, where she has contributed to the review, revision, and design of curricula, as well as the development of online and hybrid courses across multiple institutions. As a scholar, her research is centered on enhancing academic outcomes for minority students and exploring instructional strategies to improve student achievement and retention. On a personal note, she enjoys working out, kickboxing, and traveling with her husband and two teenage children. Rebecca Campbell teaches college reading strategies and English composition as an assistant professor in the School of General Studies at UAGC. She has worked in education for almost 20 years, with experience at both the secondary and post-secondary levels, over a decade of which has been teaching online at the college level. Her aim is for students to focus on continual progress rather than perfection, and to develop an awareness of where their current academic skills are so they can continually enhance them as they progress in their studies. I'm happy to introduce you to both Dr. Shihadeh and Rebecca Campbell.
Thank you, Lynn. So I'm going to start us off by asking how you felt on your first day of college. Think back to your very first college course, whether it was in a traditional classroom or online, at whatever point in your life that was. What do you remember thinking or feeling about that first day or first online session? And I would love for you to share your thoughts in the chat. I was nervous. I was excited, but really nervous. So excited. Felt like an adult and a sense of wonder, anxious. Intimidated. Yeah, as an adult returning student. Yep. That's completely understandable. Gonna wait a moment and see if anyone else wants to share. That's really helpful, Leslie. I wish I had that. Okay. So, as illustrated by your responses, students feel a myriad of emotions when entering their first college course: hope, excitement, anxiety, even fear. Many students can put these emotions to the side to focus on the task at hand, but for other students, this is difficult and it can impact their academic performance. Many students come to the college or university setting with imposter syndrome, something some of us may still feel even today. These students can easily feel as though they have somehow slipped through the cracks and were accepted into college under false pretenses. They do not feel as though they belong in a higher education setting. Defining belonging in higher education is challenging, as that feeling of belonging will vary from student to student. Some students find belonging through people and groups, some find it through their studies and discipline. Some don't feel the need to belong, they're simply there to attend class and turn in their work. What defines belonging is simply too subjective uh, to really come up with one answer. However, research shows some sort of sense of belonging can enhance student success. According to Carter et al. In 2023, a sense of belonging not only helps to increase academic performance, but allows students to obtain the assistance they might need for successful learning. In other words, not only do their grades increase, they recognize when they need help and then seek it out, which is something we as instructors sometimes have to beg students to do. To return to the idea of imposter syndrome, some students may refrain from turning in the required work due to a fear that their submissions will reveal they don't actually belong at the college level. Students with a sense of belonging understand the importance of turning in their work to receive feedback that will reinforce the skills they have mastered and fill in missing information while redirecting any misconceptions. Students without a sense of belonging will see negative feedback as confirmation that they don't belong, while students who have a sense of belonging will approach negative feedback with curiosity and determination. These are important skills in all college courses, but especially in first-year composition, which often sets the foundation of clear and effective communication and demonstration of learning for the courses that follow. In online courses specifically, a lack of belonging can be exacerbated as students tend to have less interaction with their peers and so do not come to know that their peers often share their same concerns. Online students who seek belonging cannot engage in traditional activities such as rushes for campus clubs or other organizations. The casual interactions that happen before and after class in common gathering areas on campus don't exist in the online space. No one whispers across the desk that they are confused, and impromptu study groups, whether in class or outside of class, are generally not formed. Such interactions give students insight into the similarity between their peers' thoughts and feelings about a course and or being a college student and their own, which can highlight that they are not alone and create a sense of camaraderie among peers with similar thoughts and feelings. Additionally, for online students, it often doesn't matter if feeling of belonging is important to them or not. They may just not have the time to join a club or a group. Many online students have family and work obligations, which is often the reason these students choose to attend online in the first place. Some students want to log in, do their work, and log off. And the students who do crave connection may not have the time to take part in connection opportunities, even virtual opportunities designed to create a greater sense of belonging. So belonging must be created in another manner. And another aspect to consider is that the demographic of an online course is often more varied than a traditional college course, and this will influence a student's sense of belonging. For instance, a Latinx student could gain a sense of belonging by having a Latinx instructor, as noted by Santa Ramirez in 2022. A review of service members and veterans' sense of belongings in college by Barry et al. In 2021 showed these students do not feel they fit in. Since military students have a built-in connection to one another, it would be remiss not to explore how to increase the sense of belonging among military students to increase their academic success. They already know what it's like to belong to a group and could possibly be even a resource to help increase students' sense of belonging. So back to you. I want to hear your thoughts again. Thinking back to your own college experience, what helped you to feel a sense of belonging? Did anyone never really feel a sense of belonging in college? And if you did, what helped you to gain that sense of belonging? I know I didn't feel like I belonged in college until like my third year. The rest of the time I was just taking classes. Oh, peer feedback. Interesting. I was always nervous when I got peer feedback because I felt like everybody knew so much more than I did. Oh, a sport, see? A sport which is we can't do in the online arena. Peers, definitely peers. That feedback that when your instructors say, "Hey, you're getting this, you understand it," that can make a huge impact. I think we're gonna talk about that a little bit more. And the dorms, and not every my college didn't have dorms when I first started at it. Yep, friends with working. It is hard. I've gone back to school a couple of times, and I feel like each time it's easier to be a student, but harder to belong there. We could create esports teams. And at UAGC, we do have we're Wildcats now, so we do have a sports team we can root for. Okay. So lots of different ways that helped us to feel as we belonged in college. To measure belonging in college, the first thing to determine is how to know whether a student feels they belong in college. As we noted, this is challenging. As you shared in your responses, there are all different kinds of ways to help students feel they belong. I in research, the instinct is to create clear parameters to measure students' sense of belonging in college courses, parameters that define what belonging is and dictate how to measure it. Studies that seek to measure belonging in various college settings often use surveys, such as those conducted by Di Giacomo et al., Berry et al., Moran Soto et al., to collect data. Surveys allow some control over data points, though answers to open-ended questions may be more difficult to code and therefore measure. Students may interpret survey questions differently, so the researcher must determine how to categorize the responses and occasionally determine if an off-topic response should be included or excluded from the data set. Follow-up for these types of responses for clarification is not possible if the surveys were anonymous, and even if they weren't, depending on the factors, that type of follow-up could disrupt the integrity of the study. This, as well as your own responses, highlight the subjective nature of a sense of belonging. As we have noted, a sense of belonging is simply too subjective for a concrete set of variables to point to whether belonging has or has not been achieved. Still, there are clues we can look to help us determine if a sense of belonging exists. Subjective notes regarding a feeling of belonging have been noted by Di Giacomo et al. In 2023 and include peer connection, interactive technologies, and an instructor disposition. So basically, having opportunities for students to interact with their classmates, leveraging technology for this interaction, which makes sense given the widespread use of social media, and having a supportive instructor. It is tempting to rely on this information when looking to establish a sense of belonging in the classroom. However, as previously mentioned, we must take care to consider the wide demographic of students that online courses tend to serve. Additionally, students may be more introverted, uncomfortable in the online environment, or not very technologically savvy. There's great variability among students and what students need from their online courses to feel a sense of belonging. So given this high variability, instructors must be prepared to recognize the sense of belonging in a variety of manners and address a lack of belonging in different ways. There are areas in the online classroom which can facilitate a greater sense of belonging. According to Di Giacomo in 2023, these areas include one-on-one interaction and class discussions. These are areas of a course that an instructor can leverage to create a sense of belonging within the online classroom. So now we're going to dig a little deeper. Think back to your first college level English course. And it might have been a composition course, or it might have been creative writing or literature. Maybe you even had a rhetoric class. How did you feel starting that class? And how did you feel as the course progressed? And did your instructor help you to feel comfortable or uncomfortable as the course? See, I placed out of freshman English too. So my first English class was creative writing. See, and yeah, it was easier to be in an English class because I kind of felt like I was with my people, having studied English and literature. Yes, the difference between high school writing and college writing, other than the complexity and there can be a difference in the style wanted, like and moving from more academic to more technical, it's all there's almost no way to prepare for it until you get into that class and figure out what this class is going to consist of for you and how that aligns or doesn't align with your previous college courses. Writing is it's a skill that can be developed. So, oh, sorry to hear you struggled, but um it gets easier. I'm constantly telling my students that it feels hard right now, but the more you do it, the easier it's going to get. I have to say the way I learned APA was one of my it was the second assignment I had turned in and she said you are not doing this properly. And she gave me a whole booklet and said, here, follow this. But I knew I APA after that. I said, well, it's easy now. We still have materials from back then. That sounds like that was a good class, Dr. Handy. Okay. So, student performance in writing courses. Coupled with a sense of belonging is writing anxiety. Similar to how students do not turn in their work, so they will not be found out. With regard to belonging in college, students will refrain from turning in writing assignments for fear of being judged and receiving harsh feedback. They cannot receive negative feedback if they don't turn anything in. So, um, the image of the stern English instructor wielding a red pen persists, especially for online students who maybe haven't attended school in years or perhaps decades. Online English instructors often must undo programming and preconceptions students have about English courses and English instructors. Students don't see writing as the iterative process it is and feel that anything short of perfection will be met with ridicule. Writing is often thought as a gift imparted at birth rather than a skill that can be improved. It may sound like I'm blowing things out of proportion, but unfortunately, um, I the strict correct every small error type of instructor does still exist, and many online students have met them. This makes the challenge of creating a sense of belonging in the online English course even more daunting. Instructors must provide a great deal of reassurance and motivation. Feedback has to be carefully phrased to provide praise while pointing out areas that need to improve. To complicate factors further, students have to engage with that feedback, and many will avoid it. They just won't read it. They don't see feedback as a vital part of learning. And unless engaging with feedback is built directly into the course, many students will avoid it. Feedback on essay writing feels incredibly personal to many students. Negative feedback on an essay, even constructive feedback, can feel like an attack on their whole self. And now Dr. Shihade will discuss some ways we can mitigate this and increase a sense of belonging in our English courses.
Well, thank you, Becky. And yes, so online students often report feelings of being out of their depth and being underconfident in their academic skills and abilities. So a sense of belonging seems to increase students' chances of staying in their course, finishing their studies, and give them like an added resilience level or layer, especially during stressful or anxious times, or when they face challenges like limited access to resources or receiving quality feedback, or receiving feedback that is inaccurate, insufficient, or even delayed. Research indicates that fostering a sense of belonging and writing courses in higher education can enhance students' engagement, retention, and overall well-being. One study published last year indicated that students in online education program found that writing self-efficacy and a sense of belonging are closely linked. And of course, self-efficacy is closely related to student performance. So this suggests that providing clear expectations, timely feedback, coaching, and opportunities for peer support can foster a sense of community among students, which of course in turn supports their writing development and persistence in the program. Now, reviewing literature, we can say that previous studies indicate that some of the benefits of promoting writing self-efficacy and sense of belonging include improved writing performance and achievement, student engagement, and course grades. Other studies show that customized belonging interventions could improve retention and academic performance among socially disadvantaged students. And in a recent study, first-year writing students participated in activities that included reading stories from diverse peers about overcoming academic and social challenges and writing reflective pieces. And these interventions helped students see their experiences as normal and manageable, and in turn increasing their sense of belonging and their academic success. So what can we do to increase the students' sense of belonging in writing courses? There are different strategies, and the first one, or the first strategy that we can use, is community-based activities. Now, when instructors actively create a sense of community in the classroom, students experience a higher sense of belonging, which enhances their learning outcomes. Community building activities can include peer workshops and content-based peer feedback, help students engage with one another through shared academic and personal experiences. And this collaborative environment allows the students to form meaningful connections, develop a collective sense of purpose, and cultivate a supportive learning atmosphere or environment. These interactions can also promote bonding and help students feel more confident in their work because peer-to-peer feedback enhances their academic growth. Now, in first-year composition courses, such interventions can be effective to improving their sense of belonging and academic writing skills. And the students who feel supported by their peers and instructors are more likely to be engaged, motivated, and successful in their academic journey. So the intentional community building activities transforms the classroom into a space where students feel valued and connected, which has been shown by research to directly contribute to improved retention and learning outcomes. Another strategy we can use is informal writing activities. The informal writing exercises can be lower stake assignments to allow students to connect and share common experiences. This approach is very useful when introducing new modes of writings or topics, and it creates an environment where students feel more at ease expressing their thoughts. And these activities, such as the notebook assignments we use in English 121 and English 122 courses, can enhance the students' comfort levels in the classroom. Now, these notebook assignments we use in these two introductory English courses, we use these assignments to relate, to discuss subtopics that relate to the main concepts of each module, such as the thesis statement, paragraph development, academic integrity, and professional growth. So these subtopics or concepts build on the main concepts in the major writing assignments. And these activities play a significant role in fostering a sense of belonging among students as they have the opportunity to share personal insights and experiences. And if we tie this to literature, research supports the idea that such practices can enhance a student's sense of belonging and engagement, and therefore contribute to their academic success and persistence. A third strategy we can use is a group work. Now, emphasizing group activities in the classroom can create the right conditions for students to engage with each other and, of course, to build a sense of community. When students work together in groups, especially through assignments that allow them to apply their work to real-life situations and events within their communities, they start to see themselves as part of a team, like a valuable team. And this team dynamic not only enhances their learning experience, but also provides support and encouragement to those who might otherwise struggle academically. So to foster this sense of community, it's really important for students to get to know each other and feel comfortable working together. The idea of community building in the classroom is really about creating a team where the instructor and the students support each other throughout the learning process and challenging tasks like writing in this context. Now, I would like to note that community building activities can include informal interactions and relationship building exercises, such as icebreakers or peer workshops. These activities can be designed to facilitate bonding and mutual support. However, group work typically involves students collaborating on a specific and defined task with the specific roles and responsibilities, aiming to accomplish a specific academic goal. So the structure does set them apart, but they can achieve the same goal, which is enhancing students' sense of belonging. And moving on to the next slide. Peer tutoring is another strategy to enhance the student sense of belonging in writing courses. Previous studies indicate that engaging with tutors and peers is essential for building and sustaining a sense of belonging in an online environment. This means a supportive tutor or peer can help online students develop and maintain a sense of belonging in their courses and throughout their studies. At UAGC, our peer tutoring initiative is designed to help new students in 4 first-year courses, which are English 121, Gen 102, Gen 103, and Gen 104, and navigate the challenges they face in these courses. This initiative pairs these students with fellow UAGC students who have been successful in their first-year courses. They know the assignments and the course expectations in these 4 courses, so they can provide tips to help students succeed. This peer tutoring initiative was launched first in English 121 in April 2024, so it's recent, and then the other 3 courses over the following couple of months. In a recent qualitative study outside UAGC published in 2020, students reported that tutors had an impact on their sense of belonging, and this is a quote. And this highlights the role of tutors in this context, especially in writing courses. So when students are stressed or confused, support and feedback from peers and tutors can be valuable because they help students clarify their understanding and, of course, further develop their learning. Our UAGC peer tutoring support is aimed at growing a sense of belonging at our university, to let them know that they are not alone and there are other students who have gone through the same experience and the same courses, and they are here to help them be successful. Let's take a look at this graph here. Now, up to August 21, 2024, it shows that the number of booked and attended tutoring sessions for the 4 courses, English 1, Gen 103, Gen 102, and Gen 104. The takeaways from this graph are the following. English 121 has the highest number of booked sessions, around 50, and I'm not surprised. However, fewer than half of these sessions were attended. Gen 103 also has a good drop between booked and attended sessions. Gen 102 and Gen 104 show fewer booked sessions compared to English 121 and Gen 103, with the Gen 102 having very few attended sessions relative to bookings, and the Gen 104 showing a similar gap. Overall, the completion rate for all of these courses is 27.78%, indicating that only about a quarter of booked sessions are attended. And the no-show rate is really high at 72.2%. And we can conclude that this graph highlights engagement challenges with this initiative, with significant no-shows in scheduled tutoring sessions, which could point to an opportunity for improving attendance rate throughout, by sending reminders or alternative support options. And this takes me to the second slide. So based on these numbers we just discussed in the previous slide, we launched the open office hours on August 21, 2024, and have had a total of 22 sessions since then, as this graph shows. Open hours available for all 4 courses. But since the launch of the open hours, we have not had any students from Gen 104 drop in. Currently, we are expanding and continuing to explore more ways to reach students for the peer-to-peer connection. And we are updating the peer tutoring splash page to indicate an option to email peer tutors. And we have an email address that students can use. We are also adding language to the splash page. That video is not needed if they want to meet with a tutor. So if a student prefers to use audio or chat only, that would be completely acceptable. These suggestions all came from our peer tutors, who gave us feedback that some students prefer to be off camera and do not like to engage in a video chat. And let's discuss more strategies or techniques to engage students and increase their sense of belonging. Another strategy is recognition. Acknowledging and celebrating students for their achievements and contributions is an effective way to foster a sense of belonging. When students feel recognized for their efforts, it does enhance their connection to the group and strengthen their sense of being valued within the academic community. This kind of recognition can boost morale and encourage a deep commitment to their goals, which creates a more inclusive and supportive environment. By making recognition a regular practice, we can cultivate a culture where every student feels appreciated and noticed. And some specific examples instructors can use to acknowledge and celebrate individual achievements and contributions in the classroom can include, and I'm going to use UAGC as an example, we have a pre-written email templates to celebrate students' success and signals. These personalized emails or messages acknowledge individual students for their achievements and they add like a personal touch, which can make students feel valued and appreciated. In other institutions, and I've used this strategy before, these institutions, they have discussion forum highlights, which is meant to create a weekly post that highlights insightful comments or exceptional work from students in discussion assignments. This is a way to acknowledge their efforts and encourage participation from others. And one final strategy I would like to discuss is regular checks or check-ins. These check-ins or checks can enhance students their sense of belonging, and this means intentional and consistent communication and interaction between instructors and the students. These checks are designed to create a supportive environment in which students feel seen, valued, and connected to the academic community. The goal here is to build relationships that foster trust and engagement, and of course, in turn, reduce feelings of isolation, especially in online courses or remote learning settings. These checks can involve personalized feedback on student work, acknowledging their progress and the challenges, regular communication through email, chat, or other platforms such as Signals at UAGC to check on their well-being and encourage participation in class discussions, and of course, submitting assignments. This helps the students feel integrated and offers support resources such as tutoring, writing center services, or even counseling and advising, guiding students toward tools that they might need for success. It's really important to note that these checks can be sent when student behaviors suddenly change or when students suddenly disappear from the class to offer possible academic interventions. So to wrap up our discussion, the social cognitive theory does emphasize that individuals operate within interconnected systems where personal factors, behaviors, and environmental influences mutually affect one another. However, the influence is not equal. Its strength varies depending on the context and the specific individuals involved. For instance, a student in an online program who lacks confidence in their research skills may avoid seeking support from the faculty members or even peers because they have that feeling of being inadequate or feelings of inadequacy. This choice can negatively impact their environment by reducing their support network, which may further increase their sense of isolation. And this, of course, indicates that individuals shape and are shaped by their surroundings at the same time. So low self-efficacy can lead students to perceive tasks as more challenging than they truly are, resulting in high stress and decreased problem-solving skills. However, high self-efficacy enables our students to approach difficult tasks, such as writing, with composure and confidence. This belief in one's abilities is a very significant factor in writing success. So, for example, students who have negative perceptions about their writing skills may reduce their effort and resilience, as Becky mentioned. That's why it's really important to consider the interaction between individual self-beliefs and the surrounding environment, because academic writing is really shaped by both internal factors such as self-efficacy, self-regulation, and external factors like deadlines, support, and writing opportunities. So by using the strategies we discussed in this presentation, we can help enhance the students' self-efficacy and self-regulation while providing essential writing opportunities. This allows faculty members to encourage students to actively influence their environment through initiatives like peer tutoring, informal writing, and even recognition, which in turn positively impacts the writing outcomes and overall academic performance. And these are the references we used for this presentation. And now we will take your questions.
Sorry, there was one question in the chat about how UAGC conducts peer tutoring, and it's still so new to me. Gen 104 has only just started using it. Are you able to share any more information about that?
The peer tutoring, I'm really happy to see in the chat that Yvonne mentioned that a study also uses the same concept of peer tutoring. And while preparing for this presentation, I read different studies that talk about the same concept, peer tutoring. And it's really interesting that we have launched this at UAGC. And Kira may add on to this, not to put you on the spot, but
I was actually just putting in the chat that I'm happy to hop in if you guys want me to, but only if you want me to. Okay, perfect. So just real briefly, I will tell you that we launched peer tutoring in those 4 courses this year. Every one of those 4 courses, Gen 103, Gen 102, and Gen 104 and English 121, students will actually see a peer tutoring link on the left-hand navigation in their course. So when they click on that peer tutoring link, they'll have all the information they need about how to access peer tutoring and what hours are available for the drop-in. As I mentioned, we transitioned from appointment-based peer tutoring to drop-in hours. So students will be able to see that information on there. We are in the process also of updating that splash page to also include an email address where students can have a asynchronous conversation with peer tutors as well. If they're too intimidated or the hours don't work out for them or whatever reason, we want to increase access points. So the key is to direct your students to that peer tutoring link in the classroom. And there's also a HTML announcement that you can post in your course. It's pre-populated in some of the courses, and it's also available as instructor guidance that you can optionally post in your course as well. So look for that in your course as well. And if you can't find it, reach out to me, and I'm happy to direct you guys how to promote it to your students. And thanks for talking about it today. I really appreciate it. This is awesome.
Thank you so much for sharing the data with us. Any other comments? Any other questions?
There
Say
is,
thank you for all the support that we're seeing in the chat. Thank you.
excuse me, did you want to at all speak about how to create a greater sense of belonging for different demographics of students? And Becky, I think this is more aimed at you. I don't know if we have a lot of time left. There's 2 minutes left.
I can speak to it quickly. We mentioned a little bit about students being able to see themselves in the class. That really helps when they can see someone like them in the college setting. So anytime we can pull materials that show these same student demographics, students from different backgrounds, different cultures, different socioeconomic statuses, anytime we can pull even things that just have pictures and images, but also if we're bringing stories with characters from those backgrounds, that helps a lot.
Okay, I think we're going to wrap it up there. I want to say thank you to Dr. Shihade and Rebecca Campbell, and thank you to the audience for your participation in today's session. Please use the survey linked in the chat to nominate TLC presentations for conference awards and to share your feedback on your conference experience. Thank you all so much today. What a great presentation. I cannot wait to apply these concepts in my own courses. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.